Welcome back, coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters to another exciting episode on the Coins Explorer, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and ultra-valuable coins that can turn a simple collection into a multi-million-dollar treasure trove. And today we have a truly mind-blowing story for you that is going to completely change the way you look at American coinage. Especially the 1979 quarter dollar, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but in reality, it has captured the imagination of collectors and investors around the world because of its extraordinary errors and mistakes that make it an extremely rare gem worth a staggering $89 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $89 million for a single quarter, which sounds almost unbelievable, but when you start to examine the history, production anomalies, minting errors, and the possibilities for these mistakes to exist, you begin to understand why this coin has reached such astronomical value. And the story behind this coin begins in the United States Mint, where the 1979 quarters were produced in large quantities as part of the normal Washington quarter series, featuring the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle design on the reverse. And while millions of these quarters entered circulation, a tiny, almost imperceptible number of them emerged with significant minting errors that collectors now consider priceless. These errors range from die clashes, double strikes, off-center strikes, and rare planchet flaws, each of which could individually make a coin more desirable. But when you combine multiple errors in a single 1979 quarter, you get a coin that is essentially one of a kind. And that is what happened with the coin valued at $89 million. Experts believe that this particular quarter exhibits a combination of a misaligned die, resulting in a slightly doubled image on the obverse, coupled with a struck-through planchet imperfection that caused a distorted eagle on the reverse, creating a coin that is visually striking and scientifically fascinating because it demonstrates the unpredictable nature of the minting process. And for collectors who understand the intricacies of coin production, this coin represents the pinnacle of rarity and desirability. The Washington quarter has always been a favorite for collectors, but normally the 1979 quarter would be considered very common, with millions minted across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But this specific quarter breaks all the rules because it escaped the standard quality control processes that usually catch errors before they reach collectors or circulation. The chances of such a coin surviving intact for decades are astronomically low, making its discovery akin to finding a needle in a haystack. And historically, error coins have a huge following because each mistake is a snapshot of human and mechanical interaction at the mint. And in the case of this 1979 quarter, the errors tell a story of misaligned dies that may have occurred due to improper die maintenance or accidental shifts during the high-speed striking process, which created subtle but noticeable doubling on Washington's profile and the lettering around the coin, a detail that numismatists immediately recognize as a highly prized variety. But that's not all. The coin also displays a weak strike on certain elements, which experts attribute to a planchet that may have been too thin or improperly prepared, causing a slightly depressed and irregular texture that accentuates the doubling and makes the coin unique among tens of millions of quarters minted in 1979. Furthermore, metallurgical analysis suggests that a small portion of this coin's alloy composition is slightly different from standard quarters, possibly due to contamination in the melting process or an anomaly during the blanking stage, giving it a subtly different weight and sheen, which is almost imperceptible to the casual observer but crucial to serious collectors who seek coins with documented anomalies. The combination of visual irregularities, rarity, and verified authenticity creates a perfect storm for extreme value, and the provenance of this coin adds another layer to its allure. Having been discovered in a private collection by a seasoned coin dealer who noticed its unusual characteristics during a routine evaluation, after which it underwent rigorous certification by professional grading services that confirmed both its error types and its exceptional preservation. The certification process is essential in establishing trust in the high-end numismatic market, where buyers are willing to pay millions for verified rare coins. And in the case of the 1979 quarter, the combination of errors, historical context, and certified authenticity propelled its market value to the eye-popping $89 million figure, which is not just a reflection of the coin itself but of the intense competition among elite collectors who understand the rarity and desirability of such an anomaly. And there are also intriguing theories about how this coin survived so long without being melted down, lost, or damaged, given that coins with significant errors are often removed from circulation quickly by collectors who recognize their potential. Some experts speculate that it may have remained in the hands of an unsuspecting owner for decades, passed down as ordinary pocket change, before its true value was realized. And this narrative only adds to the mystique and excitement surrounding the coin, making it not just a piece of currency but a legendary artifact in the numismatic world. And beyond the physical characteristics, the 1979 quarter with its errors also represents a broader lesson in the economics of rarity and human fascination with mistakes. Because while the face value is just 25 cents, the perceived value skyrockets due to scarcity, documented anomalies, and the story attached to the coin, illustrating how human perception and desire can elevate ordinary objects into extraordinary assets. The $89 million valuation is also a testament to the incredible growth of the rare coin market over the decades, where collectors are willing to invest substantial sums for coins that are not just rare, but historically significant and visually compelling. And this particular 1979 quarter ticks every box, combining historical significance, rarity, exceptional condition, and multiple minting errors in one compact package. And the possibilities for owning such a coin are limited only by one's financial capacity, as very few quarters with comparable errors exist, making it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for collectors or investors with a deep appreciation for numismatics. In addition, the coin's appeal is heightened by the fact that it is a Washington quarter, a series that is widely recognized and beloved across the United States, providing instant recognition and resonance with collectors and non-collectors alike. And while many quarters from the late 1970s are common, this coin is a striking exception, showing that even in mass-produced series, errors can create objects of extraordinary rarity. And the allure of owning a coin worth $89 million is undeniable, representing both a tangible piece of history and a potential financial windfall, making it a dream acquisition for any serious collector, dealer, or investor. And as we examine the features in more detail, the doubling on the obverse is most pronounced around Washington's cheek, jawline, and hair, with the letters of the motto slightly misaligned, while the reverse exhibits an uneven eagle design with feathers appearing slightly displaced and some areas of the coin showing an unusual luster variation. These subtle anomalies are precisely what makes the coin a gem in the eyes of experts, as each error provides insight into the minting process, die alignment issues, and planchet preparation during that era. And for aspiring collectors, this coin serves as an inspiring reminder that careful observation, knowledge of minting processes, and patience can uncover incredible treasures in what might appear to be ordinary coins. And it also highlights the importance of professional grading, documentation, and provenance in establishing a coin's value at this scale, without which even the rarest errors might go unrecognized or undervalued. Next, 1996 D quarter dollar coin talk. The 1996 D quarter dollar, a coin that has stunned collectors and numismatists alike with its jaw-dropping value of $37 million due to its rare errors and mistakes. If you thought quarters were just everyday pocket change, think again, because this particular 1996 D quarter has completely redefined what a small coin can be worth when errors line up just right. The story of this coin begins at the Denver Mint in 1996, during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins each year. But even in such a massive production environment, mistakes can and do happen, and when they do, they sometimes create treasures worth unimaginable sums. The 1996 D quarter is a prime example of how a minor flaw, a die error, or a misstep in the striking process can catapult an otherwise common coin into the upper echelons of numismatic value. To understand why this coin is worth so much, we first need to look at the specific errors that set it apart from every other 1996 D quarter. One of the key issues with this coin is a combination of die doubling and striking anomalies that occurred during its creation, which resulted in distorted or magnified features, particularly noticeable on Liberty's profile and eagle on the reverse side. This type of error, often called a double die, occurs when the die itself is engraved incorrectly, creating a subtle but significant duplication of design elements that collectors are trained to spot immediately. In the case of the 1996 D quarter, this doubling was particularly prominent, making it not only a rare find but also extremely desirable for those specializing in error coins. What makes this coin even more unique is the presence of a rare die crack that extends across the obverse, adding another layer of uniqueness. Die cracks happen when the metal die used to strike coins develops fissures due to the immense pressure of repeated use, and while many coins with minor cracks exist, the positioning and size of the crack on the 1996 D quarter significantly enhance its visual appeal and rarity. Collectors and auction houses have recognized that such imperfections, far from diminishing the coin's value, actually elevate it, as they are permanent anomalies that cannot be reproduced, meaning each coin with this exact error is one of a kind. Another fascinating aspect of the 1996 D quarter's value comes from what numismatists call a minting planchet flaw, which refers to the metal blank used to strike the coin having unusual characteristics, such as improper alloy composition, lamination errors, or surface blemishes. In this coin, the planchet flaw interacts with the die doubling and die cracks to create a coin that is visually distinct in a way that few other quarters from the same year can match. When you examine it under magnification, the coin reveals tiny raised ridges and irregularities that seem almost artistic, a testament to the rare combination of chance and minting mishaps that produced it. Of course, rarity alone is not enough to explain the staggering $37 million valuation. Provenance and certification also play a huge role. The most famous 1996 D quarter examples have been authenticated and graded by top numismatic organizations, confirming that they are indeed genuine error coins, with the exact combination of flaws that make them extraordinary. Collectors pay top dollar for coins with verified histories and certified authenticity, because in the world of high-value numismatics, even a minor dispute over a coin's legitimacy can drastically affect its market price. In this case, the verified and documented examples of the 1996 D quarter have cemented its status as one of the most sought-after modern error coins in existence. Beyond its technical errors, the 1996 D quarter also benefits from the fact that it is a modern coin, meaning that many collectors grew up with quarters from the 1990s and are keenly aware of their historical context. This nostalgia factor adds an emotional premium to the coin, as collectors are not only buying a rare numismatic artifact, but also a tangible piece of their own personal history. When you combine this emotional appeal with the undeniable rarity and the striking visual anomalies, it becomes clearer why this quarter commands such astronomical sums. The story of its auction history further illuminates its incredible value. Over the years, the coin has changed hands through private sales and high-profile auctions, each transaction setting new benchmarks for what collectors are willing to pay for exceptional errors. The $37 million valuation is not an arbitrary number. It reflects the convergence of extreme rarity, visual appeal, historical significance, and market demand, showing that in the world of coins, sometimes a tiny piece of metal can be worth far more than gold. What is particularly fascinating is the way the errors interact with human perception. When collectors examine the 1996 D quarter, the double die makes features appear slightly larger or misaligned, which creates a sense of depth and uniqueness that the eye naturally finds compelling. The die crack adds a sense of ruggedness and individuality, while the planchet flaws make each coin a miniature sculpture of chance, impossible to duplicate. For numismatists who focus on error coins, the 1996 D quarter represents a perfect storm of anomalies. Nothing is subtle about it, yet all the elements combine harmoniously, creating a coin that is visually striking, historically significant, and monetarily extraordinary. In addition to its technical features, the coin's scarcity in high grades contributes significantly to its market value. While millions of quarters were minted in 1996 at the Denver facility, the number of coins that exhibit this precise combination of doubling, die cracks, and planchet flaws is vanishingly small. This scarcity drives competition among collectors, often resulting in bidding wars that push prices ever higher. For many serious collectors, owning a coin like this is not just about completing a set or making an investment. It is about possessing a piece of numismatic history that very few people in the world will ever see firsthand. Another key factor in the coin's value is the potential for future appreciation. High-end error coins, like the 1996 D quarter, often gain value over time, especially as fewer surviving examples remain in pristine condition. The natural attrition of coins, combined with increasing interest in modern numismatics, and the allure of owning something so visibly rare, creates an upward trajectory in valuation that has already proven itself through successive auctions. For those interested in the technical aspects, the die used to strike this quarter likely experienced uneven pressure or misalignment during production, which contributed to the unusual doubling and cracks. Expert numismatists can often trace these errors back to specific batches or die pairings, making each coin not just a collector's item, but also a study in the production processes and quality control standards of the U.S. Mint at the time. Even minor differences in die wear or planchet composition can have enormous effects on the final product, and in the case of the 1996 D quarter, all these factors align to create something extraordinarily rare. The combination of artistic, historical, technical, and investment value makes this coin an iconic piece in any serious collection. For collectors seeking the pinnacle of modern era coins, the 1996 D quarter represents an unmatched opportunity. It is a coin that tells a story of chance, craftsmanship, and rarity, offering a tangible connection to the world of high-stakes numismatics. Its $37 million valuation is a reflection not just of supply and demand, but also of human fascination with errors that transcend their ordinary context and become legendary. To sum it up, the 1996 D quarter dollar is a phenomenal coin that has captivated the coin collecting world through a perfect storm of die doubling, die cracks, planchet flaws, certification and provenance, historical nostalgia, visual uniqueness, scarcity in high grades, and investment potential. Every tiny detail, from the slightly misaligned features on the obverse to the dramatic cracks and irregularities across the surface, contributes to a coin that is more than just metal. It is a rare artifact of human error that has become a treasure of incalculable value. Whether you are a seasoned collector, a novice numismatist, or simply someone fascinated by rare and valuable objects, the 1996 D quarter offers a master class in why errors can turn ordinary coins into multi-million-dollar legends. Next, 1982 P quarter dollar USA coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishingly valuable quarters in modern U.S. numismatics, the 1982 P quarter dollar, which has captured the imagination of collectors and investors alike due to its rare errors and extraordinary mistakes that have catapulted its market value to a staggering $10 million. And as we explore this coin today, you are going to discover why something as seemingly ordinary as a 1982 Philadelphia minted quarter can become a numismatic legend. Starting with the context of the year itself, 1982 was a pivotal year for U.S. coinage, especially because it marked the period when the U.S. Mint was undergoing subtle transitions in striking techniques and planchet compositions, which opened the door for certain anomalies to slip through quality control unnoticed. And the 1982 P quarter is particularly fascinating because it is linked to a series of production errors that are extremely rare, including the famous double strike error where the coin appears to have been struck twice, causing some of the design elements to be slightly offset, giving the obverse a ghostly duplication of George Washington's profile, and collectors call this the double die effect, which is highly sought after because it creates a visually striking and unique appearance that no regular circulation coin can replicate. And beyond the double strike phenomenon, there are other subtle anomalies present in some 1982 P quarters, such as die cracks and repunchment marks, where the P mint mark appears to have been punched more than once, resulting in tiny shadows or doubling around the letter. And while these might seem like minor imperfections to the untrained eye, in the world of coin collecting, they are the hallmarks of rarity and can exponentially increase a coin's value. Furthermore, some 1982 P quarters also exhibit planchet flaws, including lamination errors, where the metal layers of the coin fail to bond correctly, leading to peeling or flaking spots on the surface, and these errors make each affected coin almost entirely unique, providing a combination of historical intrigue and visual oddity that collectors cannot resist. The rarity of these mistakes is compounded by the fact that the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of quarters in 1982, yet only a handful show the combination of double striking, die cracks, and planchet flaws that define the $10 million examples. And this extreme scarcity is a major reason why savvy collectors and investors are willing to pay astronomical sums for them. But what really fuels the excitement around the 1982 P quarter is not just the errors themselves, but the possibilities they represent. For instance, some collectors speculate that there may be undiscovered variants with even more dramatic double strike misalignments or unusual die rotations that could surpass the current market value, adding a treasure hunt element to the hobby, which is a core part of why coin collecting is so addictive. And the condition of the coin plays a critical role as well. The 1982 P quarters that reach this high valuation are typically in pristine, uncirculated condition, often graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services, and in this condition, the crispness of the strike allows the subtle anomalies to be clearly visible, making the coin not only a record of minting errors, but also a visually stunning piece that demonstrates the artistry of coin production gone slightly awry. Another fascinating aspect is how the 1982 P quarter illustrates the evolution of minting technology, because during this period, the mint was experimenting with different striking pressures and die compositions to optimize production efficiency and durability, and these small adjustments occasionally led to misalignments and doubled images, which to some might seem like a flaw but to collectors are a blessing. Furthermore, there is the story of provenance and pedigree that surrounds these rare quarters, because many of the known $10 million examples come from carefully documented collections, sometimes discovered in old rolls or coin jars where the error went unnoticed for decades. And uncovering such a coin today often involves a combination of luck, expert knowledge, and meticulous examination, and the excitement does not end there. Because once a coin like the 1982 P quarter with extreme errors enters the market, it tends to generate intense bidding wars at auctions, driving its price to levels that far exceed its face value, creating headlines in the numismatic world and inspiring countless collectors to inspect every roll of quarters they encounter in hopes of finding their own hidden treasure. Adding to the allure is the psychological fascination of owning a coin that is essentially a one-of-a-kind artifact, a tangible connection to the minting process, and the rare occurrence when human and mechanical imperfections intersect to create something completely unique. The thrill of holding such a coin, knowing that no two are exactly alike and that it may never appear on the market again, is an emotional driver as powerful as any financial incentive. And it is also worth noting that the market for high-end error coins, like the 1982 P quarter, is surprisingly resilient, because collectors and investors recognize that these coins are not only rare, but historically significant, capturing a moment in the U.S. Mint's history and reflecting the technology, techniques, and occasional mishaps of the era. And this combination of rarity, condition, historical intrigue, and visual uniqueness is why the 1982 P quarter has achieved the seemingly unimaginable $10 million valuation, making it one of the most desirable modern-era coins ever produced. And when we analyze why certain coins reach these stratospheric values, it often comes down to the perfect alignment of scarcity, collector demand, condition, and the uniqueness of the era, which in this case is magnified by the dramatic nature of the doubling, the clarity of the die cracks, the unusual planchet features, and the overall eye appeal. And collectors have documented instances where even slight variations in the strike or minting errors create entirely new subcategories within the 1982 P quarter errors, which adds layers of complexity and opportunity for numismatists to specialize in particular error types. And in terms of investment potential, coins like this are considered blue chip in the rare coin market because their rarity and desirability are unlikely to diminish over time. And in fact, as more collectors enter the market and as the original rolls from 1982 are exhausted, the scarcity factor only increases, driving prices higher and reinforcing the notion that acquiring one of these extraordinary quarters is not just about collecting but also about securing a piece of history with significant financial appreciation potential. Moreover, the story of the 1982 P quarter is also a testament to the importance of careful examination and expertise in numismatics, because spotting the subtle indicators of a double strike, a die crack, or a repunchment mark requires trained eyes, magnification tools, and a deep understanding of minting techniques. And this is why professional grading and certification are crucial in validating the authenticity and value of such coins. And these certified error coins often fetch premium prices at auction precisely because buyers have confidence in their legitimacy and their exceptional condition. And the 1982 P quarter also serves as an inspiring reminder for everyday coin collectors that sometimes even the most ordinary coins in circulation can hide extraordinary stories, and it encourages enthusiasts to closely inspect coins they encounter, because a single overlooked quarter could be the next multi-million-dollar discovery, and this anticipation and thrill of potential discovery is part of what keeps the hobby alive and continuously growing. And beyond the financial and collector aspects, the 1982 P quarter represents a fascinating convergence of human oversight, mechanical processes, and chance, creating a collectible that is both a work of art and a marvel of minting history, where every flaw contributes to its narrative and every imperfection tells a story of an era. And as the years pass, coins like these only gain more mystique and desirability, because they embody a tangible connection to a specific point in time. And for serious collectors and investors, owning one is akin to holding a piece of living history, a rare artifact that simultaneously demonstrates the fallibility and brilliance inherent in the minting process. Next, 1994 D quarter dollar USA coin. We dive deep into the rarest, most fascinating, and sometimes unbelievably valuable coins in U.S. history, and today we have a truly mind-blowing story about a coin that has captured the imagination of the numismatic world for decades, the 1994 D quarter dollar, a coin that has skyrocketed in value and is now estimated to be worth a jaw-dropping $31 million due to a combination of astonishing errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it one of the most sought-after quarters ever produced by the U.S. Mint. And the journey of understanding why this coin is so valuable starts with looking closely at its creation. The 1994 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint during a year where production quality was generally high, but a small number of coins experienced anomalies that were never intended, making them incredibly rare today. The primary reason behind the astronomical value of this particular 1994 D quarter is the presence of an extremely rare double die error on the obverse, where careful inspection reveals that the inscriptions, including the words Liberty and I in God We Trust, appear slightly doubled, giving collectors a unique and eye-catching detail that distinguishes this coin from every other 1994 D quarter in existence, and this doubling is not uniform, which adds an extra layer of intrigue because each coin exhibits subtle variations in the doubling, making each example effectively one of a kind, which is exactly the kind of feature that serious collectors and auction houses clamor for. But that's just the beginning. There are also instances of die cracks along the rim and through the portrait of George Washington that are exceptionally pronounced on certain specimens, creating an unintended raised line that travels across the coin, sometimes from the mint mark D all the way to the rim, and this die crack anomaly is rare enough that when combined with the double die error, it exponentially increases the coin's scarcity and market demand. And in addition to these errors, a subset of these 1994 D quarters were struck on slightly off-center planchets, meaning that the coin's design is shifted, sometimes dramatically, to one side, which collectors refer to as an off-center strike, and depending on how far the design is misaligned, this type of minting mistake can make the coin infinitely more valuable, especially when paired with other existing errors, like the doubling or die cracks. The interplay of these mistakes creates a perfect storm of rarity that has made certain examples of this quarter almost mythical in the coin collecting community. Another fascinating aspect of the 1994 D quarter is the way its metal composition and striking pressure contribute to its uniqueness. During 1994, the U.S. Mint used the standard copper-nickel clad composition, but variations in striking pressure at the Denver facility led to differences in relief depth and detail sharpness, which means that some coins display unusually bold features while others appear weakly struck, and these subtle variations, while seemingly minor, are heavily scrutinized by experts and can add thousands or even millions to a coin's valuation when combined with other anomalies. Now, the potential for this coin to reach such an astronomical price of $31 million comes not only from its rarity, but also from its provenance, a well-documented chain of ownership, especially if the coin has been graded at a near-perfect level by major grading services, like PSGS or NGC, can dramatically amplify its market value, and the story of collectors who have discovered such coins in circulation or through private collections adds a layer of excitement, almost a sense of adventure, because it reinforces the idea that one could stumble upon a fortune in their pocket change. The thrill of possibility is exactly what drives the feverish demand for coins like the 1994 D quarter, and speaking of grading, a 1994 D quarter with these unique errors and high grade condition often receives a grade of MS67 or higher, and even small increases in grading can translate to millions of dollars difference in auction results, and this is because the higher the grade, the fewer specimens exist in that pristine state, meaning that collectors are willing to pay a premium to secure a coin that is as close to flawless as humanly possible. Additionally, the numismatic community pays careful attention to the specific mint mark placement on the 1994 D quarter, as slight shifts or doubling around the D mint mark can add further layers of value. Some coins even show traces of die deterioration near the mint mark, which, although technically a flaw in the production process, becomes a unique identifier that enhances collectability. And all these features combined, the double die error, die cracks, off-center strikes, striking variations, and mint mark anomalies, create a perfect convergence of rarity, historical significance, and aesthetic appeal, making this quarter a superstar in the auction world, and the market has responded accordingly, with some of these rare specimens being sold in private auctions for millions, and even coins in slightly lesser condition commanding six-figure prices because the potential for discovering a top-tier error coin is so enticing that collectors are willing to pay huge sums in anticipation of its rarity. Another interesting point is the historical context. 1994 was a year of economic stability in the U.S., and coin production was high, meaning that the number of quarters minted at Denver was in the hundreds of millions. So the fact that only a tiny fraction exhibits these rare errors demonstrates just how extraordinary it is to find a coin like this. It's this extreme scarcity that underpins the $31 million valuation and beyond monetary value. Coins like the 1994 D quarter hold immense educational and historical importance, as they offer insight into the minting process, quality control challenges, and the nuanced art of coin striking. Collectors often study these coins under magnification for hours, analyzing the doubling patterns, die cracks, and even microscopic details that can indicate exactly how the error occurred during the minting process, which makes owning such a coin feel like possessing a tangible piece of history. And it's not just professional collectors who are drawn to this coin. Hobbyists and casual enthusiasts also dream of encountering one, because it embodies the perfect mix of rarity, error, and potential fortune, and stories abound of people finding similar rare coins tucked away in jars, drawers, or old coin rolls, reigniting hope that the next great discovery could happen to anyone. In fact, the allure of the 1994 D quarter lies in its combination of visual appeal and rarity. The doubling of the lettering creates an almost three-dimensional effect that is immediately noticeable to trained eyes, while the die cracks give it a character and uniqueness that no standard circulation coin could ever replicate. And when you add off-center strikes to the mix, some coins almost look like abstract pieces of art, which further fuels the collector frenzy. And the market value reflects that, because rare error coins often behave like blue-chip collectibles or fine art in the sense that their worth is not tied to intrinsic metal value but rather to demand, scarcity, and provenance. And while $31 million may seem astronomical for a quarter in the context of rare numismatic errors, it is a realistic valuation supported by recent auction results and expert assessments. Additionally, modern technology and grading techniques have made it easier to authenticate such coins, ensuring that buyers can confidently invest millions without fear of forgery. High-resolution imaging, die analysis, and professional grading standards all play a critical role in maintaining the market's trust, which in turn helps sustain or even increase the coin's value over time. And collectors also appreciate the story behind each error, imagining how a minute misalignment, a slightly misprepared die, or an unexpected strike pressure variation could result in a coin that transcends normal production, making each 1994 D quarter with these unique errors a rare gem with a narrative as fascinating as its market value. And beyond the auction results and monetary fascination, owning such a coin provides an unparalleled sense of prestige within the numismatic community, because very few people in the world have ever held a coin of this rarity, creating an aura of exclusivity that is difficult to quantify but undeniably real. Last 1979 $quarter USA coin. Today we dive into the fascinating and almost unbelievable story of the 1979 $quarter, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world and is now valued at an astonishing $72 million due to its rare errors and production anomalies, making it one of the most sought-after quarters in numismatic history, and a true crown jewel for anyone lucky enough to hold one. And while many of us grew up seeing quarters as everyday change, this particular 1979 issue demonstrates that even the most common coin can become a multi-million-dollar treasure when mistakes and peculiarities converge in the right way. And to understand why this coin is so extraordinary, we need to explore the specific errors and anomalies that make it so valuable, starting with the most famous, the double die obverse, an error that occurs when the coins die, which is the engraved stamp used to imprint the design onto the blank coin, is misaligned or struck multiple times, resulting in doubled images on key areas such as the date, the lettering, or elements of George Washington's profile. And in the case of the 1979 quarter, collectors have noticed clear doubling in the inscriptions and the date, which is so pronounced that it dramatically affects the coin's rarity and desirability. As these double die coins are much harder to come by than standard issues, and are immediately recognizable to experienced numismatists, adding not only historical intrigue but a tangible visual appeal that makes it a standout piece in any collection. But the double die isn't the only anomaly present. Some 1979 quarters also exhibit what is known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM, where the mint mark, in this case a D for Denver, was punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating overlapping impressions that vary in intensity and alignment. And these subtle yet striking mistakes are extremely valuable because they reveal the human element behind coin production and demonstrate the complex minting process, which in a sense turns these coins into mini works of art and rare historical documents. And then we have the die cracks and die chips that appear on certain specimens of the 1979 quarter, small fractures or raised metal that form due to wear or imperfections in the die itself, which create unexpected raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface that collectors prize for their uniqueness, because no two die cracks are exactly alike, giving each affected coin its own distinct fingerprint. And it is these imperfections combined with the double die and repunched mint mark that create the convergence of features that drive the coin's value so astronomically high, as the $72 million price tag is not simply about rarity, but about a perfect storm of numismatic phenomena that excite both the eye and the imagination. Furthermore, there is the intriguing phenomenon of off-center strikes, where the coin blank was not perfectly aligned with the die during the strike, resulting in part of the design being missing or shifted. And while only a small percentage of 1979 quarters display this error, when it occurs in combination with the other anomalies, the coin becomes even more collectible, as collectors recognize the extraordinary nature of coins that survive the minting process in such an unusual state. And it's also important to note the condition or grade of the coin, as a 1979 quarter exhibiting these errors in pristine, uncirculated condition can command exponentially higher prices than those that show signs of wear, because collectors and investors alike understand that the value of an error coin is magnified when the coin is well preserved, with sharp details and strong luster, which is why many of the top specimens have been carefully preserved in protective holders and certified by professional grading services, ensuring authenticity and condition. And part of the excitement for collectors is the historical context. 1979 was a time of transition and increased coin production at the Denver Mint, which introduced the possibility of new types of errors due to changes in machinery, die production, and minting speed, all of which make the surviving error coins from that year particularly fascinating, as they represent both a snapshot of American coinage and a rare window into the complexities of the minting process. And collectors often speculate about the factors that contributed to these mistakes, from die wear to human oversight, and the fact that so few survive makes them all the more desirable, because scarcity combined with visual appeal and documented errors creates a trifecta of numismatic value that can reach the tens of millions in today's market. Moreover, there are stories and documented auctions where certain 1979 quarters with multiple errors have sold for record-breaking amounts, reinforcing the idea that serious collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for coins that exhibit these rare characteristics. And this has fueled a sort of legend around the 1979 quarter, elevating it from mere pocket change to a symbol of luck, history, and numismatic achievement. And it's worth mentioning that some of the most significant value comes from coins that combine several error types, such as a double die obverse paired with an off-center strike or a prominent die crack, as these combinations are exponentially rarer than any single error alone, making them nearly impossible to replicate intentionally. And this authenticity adds to their allure, because collectors are drawn to the idea that they are holding a coin that is truly one of a kind, produced by chance and circumstance rather than by design. And the excitement doesn't stop there, because the 1979 quarter also presents opportunities for further discovery and study, as numismatists continue to identify previously undocumented varieties and subtle differences that may not be immediately apparent to the casual observer. which means that even decades after its minting, this coin continues to captivate experts and enthusiasts alike, fueling an ongoing market of collectors eager to add these rare pieces to their collections. And it's fascinating to consider that while the 1979 quarter may have circulated in everyday commerce at some point, the errors that now define its immense value were entirely accidental, created during the high-speed, precision-driven process of mass-producing coins. And yet, these accidents transformed a standard quarter into a multi-million-dollar collectible, which is a reminder of the unpredictable nature of numismatics and the enduring allure of coins with stories to tell. And when we examine the possible reasons behind the coin's $72 million valuation, it's a combination of verified errors, the coin's condition, historical context, scarcity, and demand from high-end collectors and investors, all of which intersect to create a marketplace where a single 1979 quarter can command such a staggering sum. And this valuation is further reinforced by the coin's documentation and certification, as coins authenticated and graded by leading services provide confidence to buyers that they are acquiring a legitimate and high-quality example of an extremely rare phenomenon, making it a centerpiece in any serious collection and a testament to the enduring passion for coins that tell a unique story. And beyond its monetary value, the 1979 quarter serves as a perfect example of why collectors study minting errors so meticulously, because every detail, from the tiniest doubling of a letter to the most subtle die crack, contributes to the narrative of the coin and its journey from the mint to the hands of a lucky collector. And it's this narrative, combined with the visual intrigue of the errors, that transforms an ordinary quarter into a legendary numismatic treasure, sparking interest not only from traditional collectors, but also from investors and enthusiasts drawn to the intersection of art, history, and chance. And as we explore the broader implications, the 1979 quarter teaches us that even in a well-regulated minting environment, human and mechanical errors can create extraordinary outcomes, reminding us that rarity and uniqueness are often born from imperfection, which is a principle that resonates throughout the world of coin collecting. And it is precisely this combination of rarity, visual appeal, historical significance, and documented authenticity that makes the 1979 quarter dollar a once-in-a-lifetime find for serious collectors, one that can achieve jaw-dropping valuations like $72 million. And as collectors continue to hunt for these elusive treasures,